Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the EKN OutLap here on the EKN Radio Network. My name's Rob Howden, joined as always by David Cole. Episode number 11 of the new EKN OutLap. I guess I can't really call it new anymore. The EKN OutLap podcast that we started last year at the Super Karts USA Super Nationals last November. Essentially, it is our preview podcast of an upcoming event that the EKN Trackside live tour will be heading to, and the one we're talking about particularly today, the 2020 United States Pro Kart Series, the USPKS, back in action this weekend, the Badger State Grand Prix up at Road America. We'll have a look through the race, the teams, talk about the drivers, the current point standings coming off the opening round. David Course, of course, will be there trackside all weekend, so he'll do the heavy lifting here today. I'll just kind of quarterback things from my side of the podcast. Today's show, this EKN OutLap, again, September the 2nd, 2020, presented by Kart Republic and Kart Sport North America. The Kart Republic is here, and it just keeps on winning. Kart Sport North America is the country's importer and distributor for the Kart Republic chassis, and as a leader in American karting, they're focused on providing stability for the sport and quality products and service for the community. The Kart Republic senior and junior chassis are on fire, and so is the mini kart, which has won in SCUSA, USPKS, and WKA competition. For more information, contact Kart Sport North America, where they offer top quality products, winning brands, and professional driver development services. All right, David, the whole COVID-19 deal. I know people talking about the fact that it's like, March the 148th or something like that, as we're kind of going on from there. We had essentially what felt like a season's worth of racing at Newcastle Motorsports Park with Super Karts USA in the middle of August. You've had some time at home, but dude, it's time to go back racing. It's Labor Day weekend, but just not the race you're normally going to on Labor Day.
Oh, don't. Yeah, you already had to go off and do that.
I know. I apologize.
I mean, that's the problem, I think, with Facebook right now and the memories button. If you click over to the memories button last week and this week, and it's all about the Rock Island Grand Prix. So, this is the first time in 16 years that I will not be in the Quad Cities area. It's kind of weird.
Crazy?
You know? So my longest running event that I have been to.
You started with us in 2004, and you've been to every Rock Island Grand Prix since then.
Yeah, so I missed a couple or missed one Super Nats because of birth of my child. So I didn't quite have a run going on there. I mean, I still kind of do since then. So that's kind of now the long standing streak I have going. But it's a unique. Obviously, this year has been nothing but unique circumstances, to say the least. But
well, the crazy thing was too, Dave. Remember when everything got changed around with IndyCar and the Road to Indy? This weekend was actually going to open up, and because you're going to the USPKS race, at one point before Rock Island canceled, I was actually going to Rock Island to run the Rock Island broadcast, and you were going to be at the USPKS race. So I would have been there, and you wouldn't have been. You would have been up at Road America. It was this the way things were shaken down was so weird.
Yeah, it's that would have been a really weird situation to have you at Rock Island and me in Wisconsin. But I mean, unfortunately, the event's not going to happen, as we're seeing a lot of events, because it has spectators. So that is obviously the issue that surrounds an event like Rock Island Grand Prix, Elkhart Grand Prix, Quincy Grand Prix, all these events. As you know from the Road to Indy stuff, it's kind of moved your program around. As you said, you were supposed to be in Portland right now. So
exactly right. I should be in Portland for that race.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, but you know what? It's great to be, because Labor Day weekend, we love racing on these holiday weekends because it provides a great opportunity to go out and enjoy a typically longer weekend, and doing it at the racetrack will be great. And there's no better racetrack than Road America.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're going to go up to the National Park of Speed, which overall, the entire facility itself, one of the icons in terms of motorsports motorsports tracks and facilities in the country. And it's kind of weird because it's almost like the kart track there is like this hidden jewel that not a lot of people have got a chance to go to. I know that when you get into your event notes, you talk about the races that have been there, but there really hasn't been any major events over the last 10 years, probably.
Well, that it's ironic because I called it that in the preview that I'm writing for the website. I said it's kind of like the best best kept secret in karting right now is the Road America facility, the kart track. I even talked to Terry Trader. He's like, "Oh, they have a kart track there?" I'm like, "Terry Trader, you've been in this sport longer than I've been born, and you didn't know this?" So yeah, it's and ironically, as you said, 10 years, that was the last time we were actually trackside for an event there at Road America. It was the WKA Manufacturers Cup Series event in 2010, along with the road racing that was going on the big track. So yeah, it's been 10 years since I personally have been to Road America.
So it's the CTEC Manufacturing Motorplex. That's the sponsorship on the track at Road America. Of course, up in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, September 4, 5, 6, the dates. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday race. The Badger State Grand Prix, the second round of this year's USPKS rounds 3, second event, rounds 3 and 4 of the 6-round championship, David. All 6 count. But yeah, like, it's interesting to think about the history of the different programs that have actually been at Road America. We haven't been there for just 10 years, as you said. But before that, man, Manufacturers Cup, like you said, the old Snap-on Stars of Karting program. There was a Rotax Grand Nationals there. The CKNA Cup Karts North America has used the facility as well. Route 66 too, man. It's had a lot of big races.
Well, I think the repaving in 2017 has certainly kind of jump-started the momentum for the facility again.
I agree.
And it's a unique facility in that they run Tuesday night club league and they run a Saturday club. So they actually have 2 club programs going on throughout the racing season. So it has a unique niche in that you don't typically have a weekday club series going on at a lot of racetracks, maybe in rental karts, but not competition karts like they do. So that's one of the unique aspects. But yeah, the repaving in 2017 at the end of the year has kind of brought back life into the facility, with Route 66 being there the last 3 seasons. They were actually opened up the 2020 season in July 3 through 5th, 4th of July weekend was their season opener, got moved up to Road America because of all the COVID rescheduling and cancellations that happened. So, but yeah, we've Stars of Karting that was there in the early 20s. It was, I believe, 2006 was the U.S. Rotax Grand Nationals that was held there. And ironically, this is probably going to be the first time that Mike Rollison, who won in Senior Max, is going to be at Road America since then.
Whoa!
Probably. So that's
going.
I mean, it's probably been 14 years since he's been there. So that'll be, and it's kind of going to be the focal point about the facility, because again, not many of these competitors have been there. So I think those who have been there and those who have been there recently, because of the type of asphalt that is laid down, it doesn't rubber up. That's one thing they don't do, because the club program uses hard tires. So the track never really rubbers up until the end of the weekend. So, I think having firsthand knowledge of the racetrack and the facility itself is going to be key throughout this weekend.
For those who have never been to the track, the CTEC Manufacturing Motorplex, but you've potentially watched races at Road America on TV, they come down the straightaway and the big track to turn 5. They turn left there. It's a hard braking zone. They turn left. They go up the hill under the Corvette Bridge. Essentially, if they weren't to lift the throttle and we go straight off instead of going left in turn 6, you'd end up on the racetrack. It's essentially as you come through 6 and then 7 down to the Hurry Downs, which is turn number 8, before you turn left into the carousel. The track is actually, David, right to drivers' right as they come down into the braking zone there. You can see the track the whole time when you're actually on the outside of turn 7 watching, or in turn 6 watching it. And then, of course, the paddock area actually becomes a major camping area during any of the major weekends.
It is. And I keep, every time I've gone there, and I've gone there, you look, when we did our face-to-face, you saw some pictures from Road America, because I've been on the big track probably, 12 times I've raced there in my career. I always get the directions mixed up, because you think the front stretch goes east to west. When you get to the facility, really it goes north and south is what the front stretch on the big track does. So I was thinking when you go up to turn 6, you're heading north. Well, you're not really heading north. You're heading west. So yeah.
I've never actually made that. I've never actually, in my mind, I thought you came out of turn, whatever, the final corner, and it was west to east. I thought you were kind of driving back towards Sheboygan, going down to turn 1.
No, you're heading, when you come out of the last corner, you're heading south towards.
All right. I got to go to Google Earth.
I have it pulled up right now. It's just to confirm what I'm looking at, because every year, you're looking down the front stretch and you look and you think the weather's coming at you. Well, it's actually, if it's going east, west to east, it's going away from you. At least on the main straight for the big track.
Yeah,
now when you look at the karting track again, it's as you said, if you were to come off turn 6, go straight in, you'd be right in the kart track if you get through all those trees and stuff like that. So
interesting. Let's just talk about the track itself, David. There's a couple of guys had been there in karting before, IndyCar drivers. I remember back in the day watching Marco Andretti run, and I think it was like Yamaha Junior or something when he was racing there. It might have been Man Cup, and then first ever senior podium in ICC for Graham Rahal at the Stars of Karting. Was it Road America as well?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure Connor Daly, Connor Daly has been on the kart track there back in the early days.
Hinchcliffe, probably.
I'm pretty sure Hinchcliffe. Yeah, maybe in the Stars of Karting days back then. I'm trying to think of some others, but I think that's it. But again, as you said, national events at this facility have not gone there in a very long time, in over 10 years.
Yeah, you got to go to like I said, guys that are maybe more veteran drivers, like a Sage Karam, and some of those guys probably were there in the Stars of Karting days. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe I'm not sure Spencer Piggott. Piggott might have been out there too.
Piggott might have been a cadet by then.
Cadet, right?
Maybe in the WK days, but So again, 10 years since heck. A lot of the micro drivers weren't even born yet.
I know, it's ridiculous. All right, Dave, let's give us an update on the event schedule for those who are going to be tuning into our EKN Trackside live coverage. Of course, Tim Coyan on the mic. You'll be handling all the Trackside live as we always do on ekartingnews.com/live with live audio. You'll be doing all the work on Facebook and Twitter with the instant results updating. What's the schedule look like for this particular round of the USPKS?
Very similar to what we saw in July at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Thursday, you have unofficial practice, so I think a lot of the competitors and teams are going to be utilizing that, especially going to a facility that they've never been to. Friday is the official practice day where they'll get 5 total sessions. You have 4 7-minute rounds and then a last round of 10 minutes. Saturday and Sunday are each of their own rounds. So you have round 3 on Saturday and round 4 on Sunday, with a qualifying pre-final and final. The pre-final laps are going to be 14 and 16, with final laps being 20, 24, and 26. So a lot of laps going to be put down this weekend in each of the categories.
Well, like I said, it'll be interesting to see whether or not the rubber does go down. You said it doesn't go down early. Will it be different by the time we get to those long main events on Sunday afternoon? That will play a factor, obviously, in chassis setup and what the mechanics are able to do to the karts, which is interesting.
Yeah, and with a new compound, obviously, 2020 is a new compound for the MG tires. So we'll see. Again, that was one of the talking points at Newcastle, both for USPKS and SCUSA with the Avinco tires as well. So with very similar compounds. So we'll see how that shakes out as we go throughout the weekend.
All right, folks, quick break in the action here on episode number 11 of the EKN OutLap. David Cole giving us a preview of the upcoming USPKS event. When we get back after this quick break, we'll do the by the numbers and have a quick look at the classes and what we have in terms of numbers compared to the first round of the season at Newcastle. Stay with us. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network. In Las Vegas this past November, at the Rock the Rio finale and the SCUSA Super Nationals, Formula K reigned supreme. Daniel Formal drove his leading-edge motorsports Formula K Evo 3 to wins in the biggest races of the year, proving the outright speed of the Formula K brand. And you can make Formula K your kart in 2020 by contacting your local dealer today. Atlanta Motorsports Park is the importer and distributor of the Formula K line, as well as the race-winning Praga chassis, and you can connect with your dealer through the AMP website. The new 2020 Formula K Monster Evo 3 is ready to ride and win, complete with IP Karting's new STRV brake system. Follow in the footsteps of Formal and steer your own Formula K to victory lane. If a Praga is more your style, the Dragon Evo 2 is the perfect choice for single-speed competition. Bolt on your Miami X30, Vortex Rock, or Rotax Max and go out and win. Atlanta Motorsports Park has both Formula K and Praga chassis in stock to support new dealers, and they have previous year models in their inventory available for racers who are looking to get a winning chassis at a discount. head to atlantamotorsportspark.com/karting to learn more about Formula K, Praga, and AMP's karting program. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level and track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of the race day. To learn more about the 206 engine and to find a North American dealer near you, head to briggsracing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing. What powers you? Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. Rob Howden and David Cole providing the EKN OutLap preview podcast of this coming weekend's US PKS event, rounds number 3 and 4, event number 2 on the series. David, all in all, great start to the season. 218 entries at Newcastle to kick things off. Road America right now, pre-entry set at around 162. Still really good numbers, not up to the 218. Some people may not be traveling, whatever it may be. We know that Newcastle very centralized, a bit more of a hike to get up to Wisconsin. But all in all, the numbers still pretty strong across the board.
I was kind of penciling in like as 150 being a win. Because again, It's been since 2016 that this program has gone up into Wisconsin. That was one of the things that we used to when we were at the US Air Motorsports Raceway in Shawano, Wisconsin. So it's been a while since the program's been up to Wisconsin. That's always, as you said, it's a little bit more of a hike for competitors coming from the east, competitors coming from the south. But again, it 2020 is a completely different ball game.
Yes, it is.
The program should have been completed last month in July. So now that we're into September and this being the second event of the season, you kind of figured, it's not going to be the big turnout that we're going to have at Newcastle, because Newcastle is essentially the first big major event that we've had in the summer months, with the COVID-19 pandemic shutting everything down for those essentially 3 months, March, April, and May. So Newcastle was kind of the big first, everybody's just, I got to go race.
Yeah.
And so now
and they all wanted to be there because the SCUSA, the Summer Nats Pro Tour was coming up as well. So you maybe got some good drivers there. People just kind of went to Newcastle and said, hey, we're here. we're going to be here for a month.
Yeah. So really to be only 50 entries down is pretty good, considering it was a record turnout. One of the first times they've been over 200 entries. So, this overall, when you look at the numbers, it's the same total as what they had in Ocala for the season opener in 2019.
Yeah.
So essentially we have everybody back. When you look at it numbers wise, that started out the program in 2019. And then from there, everything got bigger and bigger. So Newcastle Motorsports Park was 181. And then GoPro in 2019, which was the second event, was 179. Then you go to Newcastle, which was 181. And then, of course, the opener this year being the 218. So
yes. So as it stands, we're this is still the fourth largest event in the history of the series.
Yeah. So that's why I said it's a win. Being Labor Day weekend, people don't always want to race Labor Day weekend. Kids are kind of back in school, whether it be hybrid or virtually online. So there's a lot of different circumstances, but it's great to have essentially a record number going into Road America.
Well, and let's say this too. Again, the 218 Newcastle entries was final entries. We're still pre-entry. And I know that you never know how many walk-ups you're going to get, whether it's 5 or 10. There's a potential for walk-up entries. They're going to be allowed on Thursday once the registration gets fired up there tomorrow at the racetrack. So there's still an opportunity to get closer to, maybe getting up to the 170s. We'll see. But bottom line is still a tremendous turnout, fourth largest, and going up to Road America, like you said, David. So all in all, Micro Swift up a couple from up to 21 drivers. Little drop in Mini, Junior, really kind of a drop across the board. Maybe the biggest drop, kind of surprising to me, is a pretty big drop, 17 drivers less than in X30 Pro class. We had 42 pros at the opening round, just 25 pre-entered for this particular weekend.
Yeah, it's a very competitive class, and typically it's been throughout the 8-year history of the USPKS, it's been about that 30 mark or higher. Yeah, except for I think 2017 was kind of the down year where we didn't really have 30 or more in that pro category. So, maybe 5 walk-ups so we can get up to that 30 mark. But again, as you said, a lot of those guys were using it as a precursor to the SCUSA Pro Tour. So that number is kind of going to, obviously we're fluctuating with the numbers, but just comparison, it is a lot. But really, in the long term, it's only really down 5 from what is the average number that we typically see in the class.
Yeah, still 162 overall entries in just the 7 categories, which is awesome, too. A focused schedule on the USPKS. All right, another break in the action, and David and I are going to get back. He'll jump right into talking about the particular categories. As we've said, we'll hit the pre-entry numbers. David will kind of give you just a little bit of a review to remind you of what happened at the opening rounds back at Newcastle in July. Look at the points as well, and David will maybe throw some spoilers out for you, some guys that could potentially fight out for the race win when everybody does get rolling up at Road America. Again, this is episode number 11 of the EKN OutLap, our preview of the USPKS event this weekend up at Road America. When we get back, X30 Senior and X30 Junior. Karts, parts, engines, tires, and tools. At sharkshifter.com, what you need is just a click away. We carry the biggest names in chassis, like Tony Kart and FA, DR Kart, CRG, and VLR. We have new chassis and all the parts you need. At sharkshifter.com, we also stock top quality replacement parts from Swift components, like axles, sprockets, and hubs. We have the inventory you need for your stock Honda as well, from cylinders, heads, and engine parts to reeds, exhaust pipes, ignition covers, radiators, air filters, and air boxes. We build our own billet aluminum components as well, including motor mounts and clutch levers. Need to add to your toolbox? We offer alignment tools, brake, battery, and exhaust tools, tire gauges, and hand tools. Stop messing around getting your seat in the right position. We have a seat mounting system that makes it easy. Check the website for monthly specials. If you need it, we can get it to you fast. We ship the same day. Sharkshifter.com, your online source for karts and parts. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all our products are just a mouse click away. We ship daily to ensure that you get your order as quickly as possible, and we are constantly adding new products to our online store. We specialize in IAME engines, Tillett seats, ceramic product line, OTK products, Briggs & Stratton engines, and of course, our championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fit your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network and our EKN OutLap preview podcast of this coming weekend's USPKS event. My name's Rob Howden, joined by the managing editor of EKN, David Cole, and of course the producer of our EKN Trackside Live program. David, you and Tim Coyne will be up there for this one at Road America. Let's talk about X30 Senior first and foremost. We just kind of mentioned that before we went to the break. 25 pre-entries, but man, there's a lot of big guns, including the new national number one, who will be there this weekend.
Yeah, the opener in Newcastle was certainly set the stage for what should be an exciting championship race. as we have a solid top 5 drivers that are in the hunt early on, that were able to kind of solidify themselves in the championship chase. But when, as you mentioned, a new EKN driver rankings #1 driver with Arias Dumejian being the series opening winner for USPKS, coming out on the Willpower Kart to win the opener in Newcastle, edging out Brandon Jarzakrak, 3-time series defending champion, and Ryan Norberg, 4-time SCUSA Pro Tour champion. So
that's a stout top 3 from Saturday's race at Newcastle.
Just that alone started that. You knew it was going to be a great weekend, and it really was. And then rain on Sunday kind of mixed things up a little bit, but allowed veterans Phil Arscott to show off his Oregon and Washington, Pacific Northwest native skills in the rain, and kind of put a beat down on everybody on the wet track and score victories. So giving Will Power Kart 2 victories that weekend. But again, I said the top 5 in the championship are really going to be the guys that are going to be duking it out, I think, throughout this weekend. When you look at championship leader Brandon Jarzakrak, not exactly not able to score a victory, but solidified himself as a championship leader with pretty consistent results throughout the weekend. But his teammate, his Mike Doty Racing teammate, Paulie Massimino, had a very impressive weekend, had a runner-up on Sunday to Arscott in the wet weather, actually led early on until Arscott was able to get around him, but he only trails Jarzakrak by 12 points. You throw in Arscott back by 36, Norberg back by 61, and then Dumejian back by 93, who already has a victory. Again, every session is going to matter, and especially in this category with the stout field that's going to be there in Road America, and that fact that all 6 rounds count. So there's no drops. So you lose a position. You can't think about, I'll drop this race. No, it's every position matters. And I think that's kind of what has Jarzakrak leading the championship, is he's got a couple pre-final wins, a top qualifier as well. So that being consistent throughout the weekend is certainly going to be key to keeping yourself in the hunt.
You haven't mentioned him yet. Bryson Morris finished 3rd in the Sunday race at Newcastle at the USPKS opener. Of course, 2 championships of the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour, both X30 Senior and KA100 Senior. So he'll definitely be in the fight.
No.
But David.
No.
What? He's not going to be there?
He will not be there. Yeah, sorry. I forgot to put that. I forgot. Yes. I put that down in KA100 Junior. But
he's leading the points. Why isn't he going to be there?
Well, we'll talk about that later. All right. He's leading KA. Yes. He's leading. Yeah.
Damn. That's it. Okay. Well, that's big news as it is right there, but we'll hold on to that. All right. We're going to hold on to that. Spoilers though, because you mentioned that the guys that you're talking about were going to be in the fight, but at least 2 of the spoilers here, all 3 of them, I guess, that you have down here, I think are going to be in the middle of the scrap. So I don't think you can leave any of these guys out here. Who are your spoilers?
Well, I put Brandon Lemke #1 because as we kind of mentioned in the opening, the racetrack, not a lot of people have been to. So he has probably the most experience out of probably anybody that'll be racing throughout the weekend at Road America, being a Wisconsin native, having a number of laps there, in the early years of the facility.
Yeah.
And of course, for the Route 66 program, I don't think he was there in KA because they don't have an X30 class in the Route 66 series, but he has experienced both the old racetrack and the newly repaved surface. So he understands the racetrack. Franklin Motorsports and the Merlin Nation are going to be on that machine throughout the weekend, and making sure it's at the top of the field. And another one, Armin Kavkusik, he has a lot of experience at Road America as well too. So I'm throwing his name out there as a possible spoiler to kind of mix it up with the championship contenders and be towards the front. Because again, experience takes you a long way. But as we've seen with Luca Mars, who's my 3rd spoiler, you don't need a lot of experience to be able to run up front.
In the senior class, right? Yeah, rookie this year in senior, and wow, was he ever good at the SCUSA race? And it'll be fun to watch. Okay, so looking at our lineup and when we're bringing kind of our script here, we're not going to talk about Bryson Morris and why he's not there until after the break. So those of you who are tuning in here, whether you're driving to work in the morning, whether you're driving to the racetrack or driving home or in the garage listening to this podcast, you're going to have to wait till after the next commercial for David to somehow give us some information of why Bryson Morris won't be here this weekend. But David, let's move into X30 Junior, 23 Prix entries. Give me the scoop on Connor Zilic. Is he going to be there at least?
No,
he's in Europe, right?
He's in Europe. Yeah, he's so the X30 here. You didn't segue it a great way for me. So you kind of just say, "Hey, let's talk about X30 Junior," and I was going to get into it, but anyway.
Hey, Dave. Hey, let's talk about X30 Junior.
So X30 Junior has a very interesting drama before we even get to the racetrack.
Pre-race drama.
Our top two drivers in the championship will not be at Road America.
That's crazy.
So we have Connor Zilic again, Newcastle, the first event out of the pandemic. Everybody's going to be there, right? Now
that's true.
Now everybody's shuffling around trying to figure out, okay, what races are we going to go to now? And it's so obviously with Zilic, it's a unique circumstance in the fact that he's representing Team USA at the FIA Academy Trophy this year. So he is the lone USA driver. They had their opener at the same weekend as the second weekend of SCUSA. They were in I can't think of what racetrack they were at.
Was it Genk? What?
No, that's where they're going. It was in Spain, Zura, Spain.
Oh, there you go.
Or was it?
You keep talking, I'll find it.
Anyway, he was in Europe. He wasn't in the U.S. and he stayed over there. He took part in the European Championships in the OK Junior category, and now he's gearing up for the second event, which I believe is going to be at Genk. So he won't be in Road America. Second in points, Josh Pearson, who was last year's SCUSA number 3 plate in the X30 Junior category. He was second. He's second in points in USPKS. He moved up to shifter, as we saw at this SCUSA Pro Tour, but he's also been competing with you at the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship. So with both events falling on the same date, this Labor Day, he will be with you in Indianapolis and not in Elkhart Lake for the karting event.
All right, to update it, I think it looks like he was the race was in Adria. Right?
Correct. Yep, in Italy. Yep. Italy.
Exactly. And indeed, Josh Pearson, as you said, a rookie this year in the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, running with Exclusive Autosports. So making his run up to USF 2000, he's going to be racing on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Thursday and Friday. Now, he could maybe bolt up there for Saturday and Sunday, but that's probably not going to happen. So, that's so first and second of the points, not going to be there this weekend, which blows things wide open for sure, Dave.
It does. It certainly makes it a little bit more interesting. Obviously, with Zilic having 2 victories, he put himself way out front in the championship early, a 60-point advantage. So, but that was over Pearson. So really, technically, he had a 99-point advantage over who is now the championship leader, Alex Stanfield. So Stanfield, riding off a runner-up finish in round 1, has become the championship leader. With him being the championship leader, it now bunches up essentially the top 7 drivers, really top 8 drivers, into almost 100-point separation. So you have drivers such as Justin Adakonis, Paul Bocuse, Max Opolsky, Thomas Annunziata, Alex Berg, Brent Cruz, Jace Park. All these drivers are now some of these guys who were like, oh, I missed out on 2 wins. Zilic has this made. Well, Zilic isn't there anymore. It brings everybody kind of back into this championship chase. So this weekend is going to,
especially with no drops.
Especially with no drops. So this weekend is going to be very crucial for any of those guys, especially out of the top 5 that are looking to get themselves back in the championship chase. They're going to need 2 solid rounds of racing going in this weekend. Cruz, especially one of them. He kind of struggled in Newcastle for the USBKS weekend. A couple of bad pre-finals here and there kind of put him back further in the field both days. John Burke, another driver who kind of had some issues in pre-finals. He's on the outside looking in, so he's going to need another good weekend this weekend at Road America. And then another driver to watch, kind of throwing in a wrench, going to be a spoiler essentially, really is going to be Carson Morgan, making his USPKS debut of 2020. He's going to be racing in Road America. He's coming off the double championships at the Superkarts USA Pro Tour.
Yeah, indeed. So a lot of action for sure. 23 drivers set to go in X30 Junior. Again, those are pre-entries. Another quick break in the action. When we get back, KA100 Senior, KA100 Junior, and X30 Master on the preview docket. David Cole will finally fill us in on what's going on with Bryson Morris. Stick with us. More to come after this break. All over the karting world, everyone knows OTK is the gold standard for quality and performance. In the US, OTK USA is the source for all things OTK. From the legendary Tony Kart brand to the race-winning Cosmic and Prix chassis, and the new for 2020 in the US, the Red Speed and the EOS, OTK quality is second to none. All 5 brands are winning races and championships across the country in national programs like the Rock Cup Florida Winter Tour and the Challenge of the Americas, the SCUSA Pro Tour and the SCUSA Winter Series, and the Pro Kart Challenge, and the United States Pro Kart Series and the WK Manufacturers Cup. And OTK products are also front and center on the podium of club and regional races from coast to coast. To learn more about a specific product line or to find the OTK USA dealer near you, whether it's Tony Kart, Cosmic, Prix, Red Speed, or EOS, visit www.otkusa.com. Specific chassis territories are still available, so kart shops interested in adding a winning component to their product lineups can contact OTK directly. Looking for that extra edge? Comet Racing Engines is your answer. The engine service program from Comet Kart Sales has been winning from coast to coast at all levels and different forms of the sport. Lead engine builders Mark Harrison and Gary Lawson have decades of karting experience, providing racers the power to reach the top step of the podium. Comet Racing Engines continually perform track and dyno tests to provide their customers with the cutting edge in engine performance. Comet specializes in Yamaha KT100, IAME Swift, IAME X30, IAME Leopard, and Rock engines. Trackside and customer support are the cornerstones of the Comet Racing Engines business, ensuring each and every customer receives personal attention and the help they need to achieve the best results. Engine rentals are available at all the events that Comet attends in 2018, including WKA, SCUSA, USPKS, and the Route 66 Sprint Series. Contact the Comet team today at cometkartsales.com or by calling 317-462-3413. If you're looking to step up your engine program, send it to Comet Racing Engines. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, episode 11 of the EKN OutLap Preview Podcast. Rob Howden and David Cole going over what's going to happen this coming weekend at the second event, rounds 3 and 4 of the USPKS, the United States Pro Kart Series. David, 37 pre-entries, biggest category for the event, KA100 Senior.
KA100 Senior, yes. It's one of the biggest categories we're seeing across the country. It was at Newcastle for the USPKS, had over 50 drivers, down only to 37, but still a solid field of drivers. You have a mixture of guys who have been at the front nationally, and you have a lot of regional guys that are going to be coming in trying to compete with some of these national names that we're going to see. One name we're not going to see, though, is Bryson Morris.
Oh, wow. What?
Bryson Morris, who won round 2 in Newcastle and is leading the championship, will not be at Road America. He told me that.
Why, David?
To be honest, I don't really know why, because I never really got into it, but he just told me that at Newcastle that he wasn't going to Road America. And I just don't think they wanted to go, I think is the plain and simple reason. I was waiting. I tried connecting with him right now to get the official statement, but no official statement has been made other than that they are not going.
I'm doing it too.
We do know we do know he was nursing a
that's true.
Injured ribs the last round of the SCUSA Pro Tour. So again, it could be to help nurse that, or the fact that their school. Again, there was no official statement other than the fact that he told me we're just not going.
Well, I've just sent a message out to his dad, Jason, so we'll find out too.
I did too, but nothing back. So he actually must be working instead of playing on the sim.
I talked to Jason last night on the phone. We didn't even talk about it. He and I were talking about something else on the phone last night. Didn't even bring that up. All right, well, listen, in the absence of the now 2-time SuperKart USA champion, first off, let's go over what we saw at the opening round Saturday and Sunday. Who were the primary guys to run up front, and what's the championship look like now? And who do you think will be spoilers to come in to battle it out with the establishment?
Well, Morris was one of 2 winners. We had Arias Dumejian winning on Saturday to open up the series. So he actually had 2 victories on the weekend himself, one in X30, one in KA100 Senior. Alex Bertignoli was really kind of the standout guy, except he came away with no victories, but he came away with 2 third-place finishes. So he essentially now is the championship leader with the absence of Morris. Dumejian is going to be second place in the points with Hayden Jones, who was runner-up on Saturday in round 1. He'll be third in points. Luke Selikin sitting there in fourth, fifth when you counted Morris. But Selikin came on late, wasn't quite there in the hunt on Saturday, but really stood out on Sunday, coming up runner-up to Bryson Morris on Sunday. So we'll see. Again, I think Selikin, I don't think he was there in 2006. So I don't think Selikin's ever been to this racetrack as well. But
there's no way he was there in 2006.
No, you're right. So I think he was probably like 1.
I was gonna say,
no, he was probably a kid carter, I think.
He might have been 3 or 4 or 5
at
most.
He's under the tent with Mike Rollison of Rollison Performance Group. So Mike obviously is going to understand the racetrack. Maybe not so much the surface that's there now, but at least understands the racetrack. And Selikin is, again, one of the leading coaches under the Rollison Performance tent. So he's going to have their K100 Senior crew ready to go as the weekend gets going. So,
David, it is the thing about the experience there too. It's a really interesting racetrack. Again, we kind of just talked about where it was at Road America. It's a different track too, because you go uphill and then downhill, right? You ladder your way up the hill. You ladder your way up to the very top part of it's got to be at least 2 stories or more higher. And then you kind of ladder your way back down, coming back down the racetrack, down to the flat part of the track. It's such a unique track, I think, and among those in the U.S. as well.
I think only the last 4 corners are the flat, or the only flat sections of the racetrack. Let me see. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the last 4 turns are all flat. Everything else is elevation. So as you're going up the hill into turns 1 and 2, that's all uphill. And you go up to 3, that's uphill. So as you come around turn 3, and again, we'll have a video Friday kind of showing you the elevation and onboard and all that stuff. But as you come out of 3, you're going now downhill. So everything is downhill. So all the apexes are down and away from you, and until you get down to the flat part with the final 4 corners. So it's certainly different racetrack compared to a lot of the tracks that we go to. And, obviously Newcastle has its own type of elevation. This is actual elevation where the ground, where you, as you said, you're like 2 or 3 stories up at one point of the racetrack, all the way down to the next.
Yeah, it's wild. I love it. Talk about the guys you think are going to be spoilers / maybe new guys in the fight.
Yeah, spoilers are guys to watch. Obviously, as we said, an X30 Senior, Brandon Lemke, will be doing double duty, so he'll be one to watch in K100 Senior. He was actually the opening round winner at the SCUSA Pro Tour. Just wasn't able to get back on top of the podium that weekend. But you throw him in with other Franklin Motorsports and Merlin teammates Josh Holtz and Nick Terlecki, who actually won the K100 Senior class at Route 66 back in July. So they'll be ones to watch. They should be quick right out of the gate right away. Yeah, but you look at Luca Mars is also doing double duty. So he'll be making his first start in this class. We saw him do double duty in SCUSA. He finished second in X30 Pro or X30 Senior. And then there's still a little bit of discussion about where he's finishing in K100 Senior Championship. They think he might have finished second or third, one or the other. They're trying to figure that out still. But either way, 2 categories, two podiums on the championship. So he'll be one to watch. But 2 interesting stories that will be one to watch will be the return of Mike McAndrews, who is a former series champion and former series winner, and TJ Coyne, the new dad, making his return to the seat as a father now. So we'll be able to see if fatherhood has changed him at all.
Well, there's no master's class for TJ yet, is there?
Well, he's not quite 30 yet. So yeah, I mean,
but he's a dad. Come on.
we could create a class, a dad class if you wanted to, but
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it'll be good. But again, experience. Those 2 drivers have a lot of laps at this racetrack. So
very true. Very true. And listen, both, again, like you said, Mike's obviously a former winner champion. TJ's a guy that can roll off the trailer, and if it's there where he can win any race he gets into, right? It could be an X30 Masters race, rather senior race, or K100 senior. It doesn't matter what it is. If TJ's on his game and they get things rolling, he can win anytime he rolls off too. So I like those 2 guys as kind of cool picks to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. David, KA100 Junior. I'm trying to give you a good, easy segue lead in. KA100 Junior, David, 20 entries. What do you think?
Well, I think the ongoing storyline for this event is championship leaders not being at the second event. So the KA100 Junior is another category where we don't have the championship leader, we don't have the second place driver in the championship, and we don't have the third place driver in the championship attending this event. Logan Adams, who was the round 1 winner, is the championship leader going into the weekend, but he will be absent. He will be back at Newcastle as they're having the KRA Under the Lights race at Newcastle Motorsports Park. So he'll be staying at home for that one. Connor Zillage, as we talked about earlier, he had a podium finish there. Newcastle is sitting second in the points. He's in Europe, so he will not be there as well. And Mateo Rubio Luengo, who was the round 2 winner, will not be there as well. So not quite sure. Didn't get a story as to why he won't be there. So he could be a walk-up entry. We don't know that yet. But as it sits right now, top 3 drivers are not going to be there.
Yeah, well, that's wild. Speaking of that Newcastle night event, if I would have known about that, I would have tried to jam that into my weekend here. That's something I could have did tomorrow night, or rather not tomorrow might have been an idea. Too bad.
Aren't you working all day Saturday?
No, Thursday, Friday is the road to Indy. I'm actually I'm going to the U.S. Nationals at Lucas Oil Raceway on Sunday. The first time ever to the drag track. I've never been to an NHR race. So
it is only Wednesday. I'm sure you can find.
It's only Wednesday. That's true.
I'm sure you can find a club cart to go race under the lights.
I wonder if my Comet Eagle with Rob Howden stole the
Mine's sold. Mine's
Yours already sold?
Mine finished on the podium this weekend at the Buckeye Karting Challenge.
You know why? Because it's got a new axle in it.
That's fine.
I got the bill for that.
But it was perfectly straight.
I got the bill for that. I feel like Chip Ganassi.
But the great thing about that story is a driver who was struggling outside the top 10 finished on the podium in his first race. So that
listen, you and I are both big. You and I are both big fans of the Comet Eagle. Let's get back to this. So top 3 guys not in points, David, aren't attending, which is wild. We probably could find some more information on that. That's going to move Weston Workman.
I gave you 2 out of the 3.
What's that?
I gave you 2 out of the 3 why they're not there. The third one I'm
saying Weston Workman.
So yes, that essentially puts Weston Workman in the championship lead as he sits 4th going into the weekend. Him and Christian Miles are going to be the top 2 drivers in the championship going into the weekend. Miles finished 3rd in round 2. Weston Workman finished 2nd in round 1. So that should be interesting. As again, kind of like X30 Junior, it brings a lot more guys back into the championship chase. One of those guys that again we talked about in X30 Junior that struggled. Brent Cruz also struggled in KA100 Junior. Finished 2nd on Sunday, but didn't quite have the points weekend he wanted. Was essentially 6th in the championship, but now he's 3rd, sitting only 4 points behind Miles. So that puts him in the championship chase. Alex Stanfield in the chase. Austin Jers and Merlin Nation, he's in the championship chase. And also look at Cameron Weinberg. Very impressive at the SCUSA Pro Tour weekend. Look for him to kind of, now that he's got a couple weekends under his belt in the KA category, look for him to kind of maybe be a spoiler this weekend as well.
Like it. What about other drivers to watch?
Well, one to watch certainly is the Route 66 winner from July, Aiden Levy. We kind of saw him battling Strong and USPKS. He's actually 9th in the championship. So he's another driver that could use this to his advantage, being a 2-time winner at the racetrack that they're going to. Actually lives in North Carolina, so was able to go up there in July and grab a couple of wins in his only Route 66 start. So he might be able to kind of lead the way throughout the weekend if he's going to use that experience to his best. Carson Morgan, as we talked about, X30 Junior, he's making his first series start also in the K100 Junior category. He's the SCUSA Pro Tour champion, as we said before. So he's going to be a one to watch. And then an actual local driver who lives in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, Bryce Mersberger. He's driving for Franklin Motorsports and Merlin Nation. He's going to be racing at his home racetrack. So he'll probably be one driver to watch and keep your clock on.
So I got a message back from Jason Morris. Here's the update on Bryson. Indeed, we had talked about this, David, during the Supercars USA Pro Tour race at Newcastle. Midway through the week, I think before the second week of the Pro Tour event there, the double weekend deal, he did hurt his ribs. And he says his ribs still pretty bad, and essentially being told by the doctor just to sit out for about 4 to 6 weeks. So there's the kind of input there for Bryson on the hook right now, making sure that those ribs get back to where they need to be. And again, anytime you have a significant injury to the ribs, you never know what, you're worried about your lungs a little bit if something were to break or whatever. So, man, on the couch right now for Bryson Morris, trying to get on the mend.
And we certainly know Road America is not easy on the body, as we talked about the elevation changes. So there's going to be a lot of G forces. It's not a Newcastle where it's kind of flat. So it's going to be definitely hard on some of these drivers, and it's a smart move being a very young driver. You want to make sure you keep healthy and be able to go long term instead of short term.
Oh, he's literally it's been 2 weeks, right? Just a little over 2 weeks since the Super Nats. I mean the Summer Nationals. So he's got another month to go, really, if he stays with the 6 week call from his doctor. So yeah, it's tough to do, but as we know, if you've ever had a rib injury, ouch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, as we just shared on the EKN Facebook from our YouTube channel, the 2014 Rock Island Grand Prix. Yes, we're going to go back to Rock Island Grand Prix because it is Rock Island Grand Prix week. During that Yamaha race that we shared, I actually injured my ribs, and I literally was crying under the helmet as I finished the race in 5th. So,
the year that I ran with RBI and booked it into the bales, as Sean Beer put in Go Racing magazine, I separated my rib cartilage, and I have pretty bad allergies. And as you know, David, every time you go to Rock Island, all you do is sneeze the whole time you're there because the hay blows you always have allergies when we're there. For the next month back home in Canada through all September, I was popping so many allergy pills because every time I sneezed, I almost started crying. I had the worst sleeps. Man, that was bad. Then I was a little older than you are at this point, but oh man.
Anytime you injure your rib, you get it does bad. Not feel good. It's bad.
All right, let's wrap up this segment. We have one more after this. Let's wrap up this segment with X30 Master. 11 pre-entries right now. Is Scott Kopp at least going to be there?
Scott Kopp will be there. Scott Kopp, our two-time winner from the X30 Master class in Newcastle, both in the dry and the wet, and our EKN Driver of the Month for the month of July. Will be there. So he's leading the championship 60 points ahead of last year's champion, David Galawina. David finished runner-up to Scott on Sunday. Runner-up to Scott on Saturday was the other Scott Roberts. He sits 3rd in the championship chase. Christian Vilmier sitting 4th with Laurentiu Mardan, a former champion. Actually, both drivers are former champions.
I was going to say.
Sitting there 4th and 5th. So we have a total, I think, of 3 champions sitting in the top 5 in this category. Both Roberts and Kopp looking to grab their first series championship. So 11 drivers, all 11 have the opportunity to win. So it's going to be interesting. Kopp obviously has the advantage, knowing the racetrack more than any other driver in the field. So he kind of has a home track advantage a little bit, even though it's not as technically home racetrack, but we'll be able to see if the field can battle and reel in some points on Scott Kopp.
And as well, Scotty Roberts coming off the SCUSA Pro Tour Championship as well.
Yeah, so a lot of champions in there. I think Scott Kopp's the only one without a championship. Maybe a Badger Kart Club championship that I know of, but a very talented top 5 in the championship chase.
All right, guys, final break in this particular EKN OutLap preview podcast. We're talking about the USPKS event this coming weekend at Road America. We get back after this break, Mini Swift and Micro Swift. Fast, fair, and fun. The Margay Ignite Spec program offers you all of that and at an affordable price. The all-new IgniteKarting.com website provides you with the information you need to fuel your passion for kart racing. Ignite Karting is a spec package that begins with the Margay Racing chassis and adds in the incredible Briggs 206 engine package and the American-made Hoosier R80 tire. The Ignite K2 chassis is for ages 8 to 12, while the Ignite K3 is available for junior, senior, and masters drivers. The new look 2020 season will feature a handful of major events for Ignite Karting racers, including the USAC Karting Battle at the Brickyard on July 31st to August 2nd. Held inside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, drivers not only race the historic facility, but they also have a chance to take a lap around the famed 2.5-mile oval and the iconic Yard of Bricks. All information on Ignite events throughout the country, Ignite kart packages, and the dealers in your area are available at IgniteKarting.com. So get off the couch and on the track this year. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. Powered by technology, DID racing chains have a worldwide reputation for superior quality and reliability. Meticulously engineered and manufactured in Japan, DID Genuine Parts are the world's #1 original parts supplier for Japanese and European motorcycle manufacturers. A rich racing tradition where results speak for themselves, DID prides itself on engineering the most technologically advanced chains on the market to help you excel on and off the track. DID's SDH pin treatment creates an extremely hard chromium carbide layer on the pin's surface that houses a soft inner core to absorb extreme shock loads. DID's 219 HTZ racing chain boasts this SDH pin technology, which leads to longer chain life as well as excellent energy transmission to the wheels. Available in the gorgeous gold, the 219 HTZ is the ultimate racing kart chain. Pick up a DID chain at your local dealer today, because when winning is the only thing that matters, go with DID. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. We'll wrap things up here on this EKN OutLap podcast as David Cole kind of previewing the event that he's heading to tomorrow sometime, I would assume. Are you on tomorrow, Dave, or are you heading up Friday morning?
I will be getting the car tomorrow about noon and then heading up there sometime. Obviously, with Chicago traffic and a little bit of a over 5-hour drive, it's going to be definitely easier to go Thursday night.
All right, let's go Mini Swift, David. 25 entries in the Mini Swift category.
Yeah, Mini Swift category is going to be stacked again, as we saw in Newcastle. Really, anybody had the opportunity to win, I think, in the top 15 at Newcastle. We saw essentially almost 6 different drivers on the podium over the 2 rounds. Mateus Orjuela was the only driver to stand on the podium both days. He won on Saturday, finished second on Sunday. He goes into this weekend on the parallel end leading the championship ahead of Sunday winner Cooper Shipman from Texas. The difference is 80 points there. So obviously standing on the podium is very key. And again, being consistent throughout the day is going to be key in the championship chase, as all 6 rounds count. Max Garcia, the Kart Sport North America Will Power Kart driver, sitting there in third, had a third place finish on round 2. Parker DeLong, who was a third place finisher on Saturday for round 1, he sits 4th. And then Cameron Brinkman sits 5th, 139 points back. So a lot of catching up to do for those sitting in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Also with Shipman sitting 2nd, because 80 points is a lot right now. But again, after 2 full rounds of racing, a lot can be changed. Brinkman going in as a double winner from the Route 66 race that they had in July. So Brinkman,
that's big. Yeah,
holds the home track advantage, if you will, going into the weekend. So he may be able to climb up there. But as we saw in the SCUSA Pro Tour, Parker DeLong back on the Nitro Kart. Wasn't on a Nitro Kart during the USPKS weekend. Was on a Tony Kart with Syntec. Moved back with Nitro Kart for the SCUSA Pro Tour. Won 3 of the 6 races. 3? Yes. 1, 3.
I believe you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Won, yeah. Anyway, championship, won the championship.
That's it.
And is back with Nitro Kart for this weekend. So we'll be able to see if he can kind of carry that momentum and gain back in the championship chase.
Let's look at spoilers and those other drivers you think we should be watching in Mini Swift.
Spoilers, I talked about home track advantage and Braden Zervez and Ava Hansen. Part of the Franklin Motorsports Merlin Nation that are going to be there. They're going to have a lot of drivers under that tent this weekend, being in the home state of Franklin Kart. So both drivers with track experience at Road America. So you got to expect they're going to be battling within the top 10, maybe even the top 5 as the weekend goes along. But drivers to certainly watch who will probably be in there battling for podium finishes. You got to include Mini Swift rookie Spencer Conrad, Ben Mayer, both drivers coming out of the Nitro Kart, and then 2 drivers out of the Iron Rock Motorsports camp, Oscar Iliff and Helio Meza. Meza was runner-up in round 1, so really is starting to show great speed. Did so in the Superkarts USA double weekend. But Oscar Iliff, another driver who is slowly gaining ground and getting speed in the Mini Swift category.
All right, let's cap things off with Micro Swift. And a lot of the drivers you're going to be seeing here are the ones that were front and center, of course, the opening round, but also front and center at the SCUSA Pro Tour Summer Nationals, that triple header double weekend at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Many of those same drivers are going to be fighting here as well. 21 pre-entries. Let's hope we get a couple extra entries to come in to pump this up. But 21 is a pretty solid group for the category Micro.
Yeah, 21, great number for Micro Swift, but really everybody's going to be chasing Jack Iliff. Iliff was able to earn his first ever USPKS victory in Newcastle and backed it up with a win on Sunday. And I believe, yes, if I recall correctly, Sunday was in the wet. So Iliff pulled off a Scott Kopp, winning in the dry on Saturday and winning in the wet on Sunday. So Iliff comes in as the championship leader, has a 101-point advantage. So victories are certainly big in this program. So when you're able to get 2 like that, it certainly sets you up for not necessarily smooth sailing, but at least a little bit of a buffer in case a little trouble happens over the weekend. But Carson Weinberg sitting there in second. He finished second in round 1. Asher Osteen is sitting in third, 109 points back. Jace Petty, 155 points back in fourth. And Vivek Kanthan, who had a very impressive weekend in Newcastle, and then with the SCUSA Pro Tour event as well, sitting fifth, 176 points back. So all these drivers got a lot of catching up to do to Iliff.
Similar to your notes, David, on the Mini Swift category, you got a couple spoilers. You got a couple drivers to watch. I'm assuming the spoilers you have down here for the local drivers once again.
Yeah, local drivers once again. Cade Yeager and Brady Schad. Going to be local drivers, Wisconsin drivers. So, maybe be able to use that home track advantage to kind of help put themselves up towards the front. Drivers to watch. We saw it at the SCUSA Pro Tour on the second weekend. Wasn't there on the first weekend, but Isaac Malakut was certainly fast and was essentially 2 corners away from a possible victory before contact took that one away. But he should be quick, along with James Moss, another quick Micro Swift driver from Texas, and then Sarah Bradley, another driver who's been quick with the Nitro Kart in the Micro Swift.
David, a lot of talk. You're going back and forth. Let's talk about Scott Kopp or Jack Iliff, drivers who were able to win in both the dry and the wet. Based on what I'm seeing here, you're not going to see any wet whatsoever. This is going to be an almost ideal Labor Day weekend. Just quick look at my phone, 71 degrees and sunny on Friday, high of 66 on both Saturday and sunny. Sunny on Saturday, sun and clouds on Sunday. Essentially sunny and 75. That's pretty much ideal when it comes to an event at Road America.
It's better than those 95 high humidity hay fever days at Rock Island Grand Prix. But
that's true.
It's so hopefully, so there won't be any precipitation. Going to be comfortable weather all weekend long. Perfect for racing. Plenty of cheese curds and brats and spotted cows all weekend long.
Double brat with the mustard. Oh. It's a little sauerkraut. Oh. Wow.
Not to mention a Friday night pilgrimage to Seepkins, probably.
Go ahead, Seepkins, for sure. That's a great thing about USPKS. I know you have a great time when you're there. Any cornhole tournaments coming up, or what do you think?
I don't know. Well, obviously with the COVID-19, we kind of had the social distancing going on at Newcastle, so I did not partake in any there. Things are a little bit better, I guess, if you want to say regarding that. So I don't, I'm sure there'll be some bags going on, but
we played. I played once.
That was at Scusa.
Scusa. We socially distanced. You and I were on one side. The other team was on the other side. You and I were a bubble. We were fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. No, it's just the USPKS weekend was different. Obviously, being my first time back trackside since March, since the pandemic hit. So I was being very cautious. Obviously, now we have the mask, so that'll be better. And, we have the hand sanitizers. Everything seems to be good. So we'll see if we can get some bags in. Trip to Seepkins. Obviously, they have the outside, but we'll go inside, make sure our stickers are all still there and prominent. That's it. Probably do some photos of those just to kind of get people talking Friday night. And then we'll have 2 rounds of racing Saturday and Sunday. Looking forward to seeing who's able to step up and either position themselves as a championship leader or as we see, climb themselves back into contention.
All right, folks, we are done here from the EKN OutLap. It's the 2020 United States Pro Kart Series Badger State Grand Prix. Listen live all weekend long. ekartingnews.com/live. Or if you're on the social media network, look for our hashtags at EKN at USPKS, at USPKS 2020, or at Badger State GP. Make sure you follow along for all of our live updates on Facebook and Twitter. Top 10s after every session. David will be taking a ton of pictures as well, as he always does. Otherwise, we are done here from the EKN Cooper Tire Studio. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.